Wow, what a week it's been. A slight turn of the head, less than a half an inch. That's all that stood between life and death for America's 45th president in a Pennsylvania field. A sobering fact that Donald Trump will internalize and will grapple with for the rest of his life.
There was blood pouring everywhere, and yet, in a certain way, I felt very safe because I had God on my side. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
No. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God.
There are those who believe that God intervened in that moment, and they're very much correct. There are also going to be those who will mock and ridicule the expressions of faith seen during the Republican National Convention this week. They will declare as preposterous any notion that God saved Donald Trump from assassination. They will ask how God could possibly save the life of such an imperfect and controversial figure. In doing so, they will not only show their ignorance of the Bible, but they will also show their lack of understanding of what makes America an exceptional nation. If you believe that there is a God, if you believe that America is no ordinary country, if you believe that we are the last best hope of earth standing in the way of despotism, as President Lincoln rightly declared, then it is perfectly logical and even necessary to accept that the Almighty has a hand in our affairs. Such was a firm conviction of George Washington, who once wrote of escaping multiple close calls with death during his military service. He said, "But by the all-powerful dispensations of Providence, I have been protected beyond all human probability or expectation, for I had 4 bullets through my coat and 2 horses shot under me, yet escaped unhurt, although death was leveling my companions on every side of me." According to Gallup, more than 80% of Americans believe in God, and while that number is down somewhat over the last decade, the idea that humans are the product of a greater power is still very much mainstream, and that bodes well for the future of an America guided by a Constitution John Adams said was constructed for a moral and religious people. God in heaven and Christ on earth, often called the most unlikely, unwilling, and imperfect to have a chance to carry his message. President Trump may not be a prophet, but he now has been touched by a moment in his life that clearly rocked him to his very soul. It's not foolish to think that he's been given an extraordinary opportunity for that reason. As a nation and as a people of faith, we believe these things happen for a reason. Our relationship with God is what makes us just and strong, even with all of our imperfections. For wherever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. We live in a nation where atheistic philosophies are infesting our most important and sacred institutions like cockroaches. At no time in the history of America have Marxists and socialists had more power, more money, and more influence. A biblical people believe God uses those among us to impact his kingdom, and our corner of that kingdom is in a pitched battle with forces that have a polar opposite view of how best to empower and advance the human condition. The words of 2 Chronicles 7:14 tell us, "If my people, who are called by my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will heal their land." Our land, our home, needs healing. And on the road to that restoration, there will be hard lessons to be learned and people that are called to lead that fight. Was the shooting a road to Damascus moment for Donald Trump? Well, it may be too early to tell. But any thought that the hand of God saved him should lead us to wonder for what great purpose. Each of us has a mission given to us by God. Some of those missions impact the lives of millions of people, like presidents. Others affect eternity in quiet, unassuming, and totally ordinary ways. but each mission is part of the great story of creation. It is moments like these that remind us of the words of Cardinal John Henry Newman, who said, quote, "God has created me to do him some definite service. He has committed some work to me, which he has not committed to another. I have my mission. I may never know it in this life, but I shall be told it in the next." Donald Trump is still with us for a reason, and that is not just an accident of history.